Episode 4 of the Back to Basics series. Today's session is a lot more of a relaxed one. I did mobility training. So, mobility training is something I usually schedule on a Sunday, and movement. And it's something I do to just make sure my body's recovering correctly, to keep my flexibility, especially through movement. And it overall helps my body recover from the weak sessions. It helps me with flexibility and strength at the same time, because a lot of the moves I perform are about extending a range of motion while under load, be it body weight or with a weight, like with Cossack squats. So this time I didn't actually do it on a Sunday. I think this was like a Wednesday night, hence you can see outside there. But yeah, very important for my kind of training to kind of do this every week, sometimes maybe twice a week, depending on the intensity I've put through my body. And the mobility part itself can usually be 30 to 45 minutes of movement, and then some primal movement alongside that. A mixture of static, not much static stretching is involved. A lot of my stretches is dynamic, and then I do a few yoga poses and mix in some Pilates pose and exercises as well inside it. Basically covering everything from, like you can see, from wrists all the way to my toes. The difference with this session is that I did mobility for about half an hour, and then I went into some handstand practicing towards the end of it. And it's been a while since I practiced my handstands, as you can tell when I get there. So I was able to get the holds that I usually can get, but all part of the process. I was kind of recouping my shoulder injury, so that's why I've not been upside down in a while. So it will all come back. The basic mechanics are still there, the strength is still there. It's just more, I think, me believing that my shoulder can handle it and not have the pain that associated with the injury coming back the day after or for subsequent sessions from there on. But yeah, like here you've got the bird dog with the, I can't remember the scientific name for this move, but yeah, it's very helpful for just lining up your spine and making sure you have a flat and stable, strong core. And going into the frog pose here, wide hips, sink as low as you can, chest to ground, thoracic something opening towards the sky. It really stretches your lower spine. You might hear a few clicks, because obviously you're keeping your head in your hand as well, so it can kind of encourage you to rotate a lot more than you can. It can be uncomfortable at first. I would say with every movement I'm doing here, if you want to try it out, find where your base level is before you push yourself, because you don't want to get injured. You don't want to snap a muscle or a tendon or anything like that. And as always, I did warm up. I did a bit of more dynamic stretching, like running up and down the track before getting into the actual mobility itself, just to warm up my muscles for what's going to come forward. Oh wow, that's quite good. Damn. I don't know if you can hear it, but my voice is a bit weird. So I've got a cold at the moment. So I haven't actually trained in 2 days, which is quite crazy for me not to have done anything, running, sport, or going to the gym in 2 days. Especially this year, I've been really, really consistent. But I just need to wait for the cold to pass and then get back to it. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm feeling the other side of it now. As mentioned before, here's some Cossack squats. I've got only 2 6-kilogram dumbbells, I think. Nothing heavy. I can usually do these with like 20 kilos each side, and then into hip 90-90. Obviously I'm showing you a very fast, sped up version of the training itself. It's not usually this quick, and each movement I'm holding there and I'm doing the whatever it is for 1 to 2 minutes each time, getting a full kind of like workaround and really concentrating on the muscle that I'm trying to stretch or open up and feel if there's any tension or any knots inside it. This is a really good quad stretch. Again, if you don't have the flexibility for this, there's different levels you can do before you have to lie on your back. And then here into some, I can't remember the name for this either, but this is really good for your quads. Just controlling the descent and then pulling yourself back up. Keep your core nice and stiff, and as best you can, keep yourself nice and straight as well. I'm going to shut up for a bit and let you listen to the song. So a personal target of mine for the end of the year, which I obviously have not reached, is to do the pancake. So I'm still training for it, as you can see here. Pancake is basically this wide straddle position, and you want your chest and your back to be in a straight line and to be touching the floor. I've got a lot of flexibility there, but there's still some room to go. So probably another year of training until I get there. But yeah, that's how I finished up that session of my legs thing, and then just butterfly stretch there. And then went into some more quad stretching here, just raised up a bit. Don't really need the front leg raised. I don't know what I was doing there. And then I went to some core work, so just holding some poses, holding positions there. Can't remember the name for this either. But yeah, these are things that I've learned through basically YouTube, different people I've trained with, and kind of things that I need to do to work towards my goals in terms of like handstands, front levers, back levers, tightening up your core. Don't forget to dance during your session. I think that's probably vitally important. I went into some standing pike pushes here. It gets progressively harder, so I'm now starting the handstand portion and kind of like build up towards the handstand training of this session. But yeah, I did this standing, and then I went to some planche push-ups, raised planche push-ups. So this is really good for targeting your triceps and your chest. Try to keep as flat as you can, the straight line from your head all the way to your toes, keeping your toes on the ground, and you're literally, I can't describe it, but you know when you go to the point of your extension that you can't push anymore. And then yeah, went into the raised pike push-ups, as you can see here. Started off just below hip. Well, it's not even below hip, that's like knee height. So obviously the higher you get, the harder the lever gets, because you're putting more load through your shoulders. And as it goes on, you see me progressively load up like that. Progressively load the box and going up higher. And this part here where I'm kind of moving my ankles forward and back is to kind of lock into a good position for my shoulders, so that I've got that straight spine. You can see from my hips all the way down to my arms should be a straight line, which is really good in terms of like angling and training yourself in the handstand position where you're perfectly straight. And this moving backwards and forwards motion, oh, we've gone up in height again, is kind of a good way to feel your base, where your center of gravity is, so that you can stack your wrists, elbows, shoulders and hips above you, and then forward from that, knees and toes. If you don't have that fundamental, you can't hold a handstand. From there, then went on to against the wall, facing it, and here I think I'm barely touching the wall with my toes. That my chest is kind of there, but you want to be able to just find a position where you're barely touching the wall, and the longer you can hold that, this is like, I don't know, an advanced step before you can do freestanding. So obviously for me, this is not that advanced anymore, but I was using it as a barometer to kind of just check how I am, and also most importantly, check where my right shoulder is in terms of how long can I hold the position before basically I give in. And it was quite good. And then from there I went to some handstand push-ups, which is another goal for next year. Obviously the goal is to do it freestanding, and I'm hoping by this time next year I'll be able to knock out at least 3, maybe 4 if I'm lucky, freestanding handstands. And then finally we got to the portion of like freestanding handstands. Usually I can hold 20 seconds so easily. That's the level I've got to now, but today, or this session, it just wasn't getting there. Like I was getting 5 seconds, and here you can see my form is so bad. I'm like leaning over, I'm not finding that straight line. I like to use that white line in the middle as like where my body should be. And frustration just allows me to dance, really. And I just kept on going for it, trying to find it. Maybe I worked myself up too much and I got my shoulders tired before I got here, probably. But also, it just wasn't happening. You can see the shake of the head. But it's all part of the journey, really. And I know I've got handstands in my locker. It's just, sometimes it's not your day, and that's okay. Anyway, tune in next week for some more training videos coming up.